Welcome back, folks, to Two Bits One Puck. I'm your host, Mr. Intangibles, a complicated man and a bin boy, Dan Masters, with my good friend, a man who loves a good jersey discussion, and a man who likes to read the rulebook, Will Everett Human. Will, how you doing?
Very well, thank you, Dan. Very well. I like the term bin boy. You're definitely a bin boy.
I am a bin boy. That all came from being on holiday, where after my wife and my daughter would finish, I don't know, a drink or an ice cream by the pool, they would say, "Oh, we're going to sunbathe. Can you put it in the bin for us?" So I'd say, "All right, fine, okay." And then one day I just said, "God, I'm just a bin boy," and that's how it started. And then ever since now we go on holiday, I am bin boy.
Just a holiday skivvy, basically.
Yes, aren't all men when they have families?
I mean, ones who want to live a nice, happy life and actually care about their partners and the rest of their family. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of us are. Just depends if you're a nice guy or a dick, really.
You had the question of the week this week, and a reasoning behind it. So off you go.
Well, I was having a banging roast dinner this past Monday. Yeah, I just thought we're into the third season of this show. Tickling 90 episodes now, aren't we? Is this number 90?
I think this is number 9. I think this is 90 this week.
Number 90. Number 90. I don't think I can't at least remember us having a discussion about roast dinners, which for a podcast that has a butchered Union flag as part of our logo, I feel is a bit remiss. So Dan, what's in your roast dinner?
If I go down my list and then you agree or disagree,
yeah,
and we'll kind of see where we match up. So First off, the meat is very important for a good roast dinner.
Okay, so given the choice, what meat? What's the best meat?
It's got to be turkey. Has to be.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I was thinking more general roast dinner, but so wait, are you gonna do Christmas dinner then? Is that what you're gonna do? Because that's a different class of meal entirely.
I'm not going Christmas dinner. If you say to me you can have a roast dinner tomorrow, what meat do you want with it in an ideal situation? I'm taking turkey.
All right,
I love turkey so much. It's fabulous. Because I think it goes with more things better than, say, lamb or beef or anything else.
But do you have turkey outside of Christmas then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fair play to you.
There's a turkey farm about 5 or 6 miles away from us, and they've always kind of got them on the go. So it's kind of like, well, round here, people get them all the time. It's not a big thing at Christmas.
Got them on the go.
You know what I mean?
Got a couple of turkeys on the go if you fancy them, Dan. Oh, all right.
Yeah, they don't just get a batch in at Christmas. It's always happening.
Well, no, if you're a turkey farm, you can't just be open for 3 months of the year, can you?
Would you agree turkey then? What would you have?
I mean, I wouldn't have considered turkey. I was thinking like your big four, sorry, your chicken, pork, beef, or lamb. Because I never have turkey apart from Christmas, never.
Oh,
just because I don't know, like turkey's nice and everything, but yeah, we never have it apart from at Christmas. So
okay, so you've got to pick from one of those four then. What are you taking?
It's a harder question than it should be because the meat you have dictates your trimmings quite a bit, doesn't it?
Very true. Very true.
I'm gonna go chicken. It's between chicken and pork for me because I cannot stand roast beef. Roast beef is the most diabolical thing that's ever been invented on this entire earth. But I'm going to go with chicken because it opens up a lot more options, I think, than pork does.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Next, of course, fantastic roast potatoes.
Yeah, of course, that'd be... Mate, if there's anybody out there who has a roast without roast potatoes, like, what are you doing? What are you up to?
Yeah, you need to be on the first ship off this land, I'm afraid.
Jesus Christ, yeah. I'd like to think I'd have a relatively lax immigration policy if I was running the country, but bloody hell, round them up, put them in camps. Jesus Christ. People are having mash with their roast dinners instead of roast potatoes. Like, gee, fucking...
Yeah, please.
Sort it out.
Next, I don't know if this is a northern thing or not, but Yorkshire pudding, for sure.
No, that's not a northern thing. Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely
cool.
not.
Who doesn't like Yorkshire puddings? They're fabulous.
Yeah, they're perfect. Yeah, that's a staple. You've got to have Yorkshire.
Because I've had a turkey, I need stuffing inside my turkey. So stuffing is on my list.
Specifically inside the turkey, not
it's got to be.
Got
to be inside the turkey. Get all the turkey juices in there.
Not a couple of balls on the side. That's not going to do it for you.
No, not at all. I can't be doing with a couple of balls on the side. I need a good stuffing.
Sake. What kind of stuffing then?
I'm not too fancy. Just your regular. Now it is nice to get some sage and onion and then mix it with some sausage meat. And then put that in the bird. Fantastic. Put the sausage meat into the bird, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, stuffing is. I'll tell you now. I'll bear the lead. Stuffing is the best part of a roast dinner.
Oh yeah, definitely up there.
Without a doubt, like you cannot have enough stuffing. Cannot have enough stuffing. You know what's a good combination? Chestnut stuffing and roast duck.
Nice, that sounds good.
That is a pairing that I'll highly recommend to you. Right, so we're pretty even keel at the moment. I feel like I do. When I was having this dinner and I thought of you, I thought there's going to be something in there that is going to be weird.
They're going to argue about.
There's going to be something really weird that you do. Really weird. I'm hoping that it's just going to be the turkey anytime apart from Christmas. But
it is me.
So you're going to be like, I don't even know. But go on. What else you got for me, Dad?
Carrot and swede.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, pretty standard. I don't have it in my standard roast.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not crazy, is it? It is kind
of.
No,
it's not. Normal. It's not mental, but it's just not what I've grown up with, this sort of thing.
All right, peas.
Peas. Yeah. Peas.
Shout out to Pete from the wedding, who, when we were discussing food, I said to him, "What's the food you hate the most?" And he went, "Peas." And then he was quiet for 2 seconds, and he went, "I fucking hate peas," and that just made me laugh so much, just the way he came out with it. So mate, shout out to Pete.
Peas are so good though. Peas are great.
I know, peas are just they're just your everyman, aren't they? They never let you down.
Cheeky little,
Mr. Reliable.
And you can chuck them with anything. If you
exactly.
If you need a little bit of veg for a dinner, chuck a couple of peas in there, and you're well away.
Yeah, you got your greens for the day. Parsnips, obviously.
Yes, yeah. Arguably the most underrated vegetable in all of the land.
Couldn't agree more, mate. They need to be just a little bit charred as well.
Ooh. Also, they start to caramelise a little bit.
Oh my god, fantastic! Yeah, great. The official sponsor of Parsnips.
Oh, I bloody hope so. That'd be screw SeatGeek. I don't need SeatGeek. Don't need any of that nonsense. I just want to be sponsored by bloody Parsnips.
Okay, this might be controversial because this is normally at Christmas. But...
so just before you say it, do you regularly have this apart from Christmas? Because
no, we do have this all the time because it's so good.
Okay,
pigs in blankets.
Yeah, see, this is why I chose chicken, because if you have chicken, you can have a couple of little chipolatas on the side, and like nobody bats an eyelid. Nobody bats an eyelid.
That's why I always have turkey.
Oh mate, this is
if you have a Sunday roast dinner that's beef, and you put pigs in blankets on the plate, people look at you like you're mental.
You're an animal.
If you have it with turkey, it can oh yeah, pigs in blankets. Of course, we're having turkey.
Same with pork. You slap out a big pork joint and you bring out the sausages. It's like, what is happening there?
What's going on here?
That's just decadent. Whereas a bit of poultry with some pork on the side, no problem whatsoever. And you've tripled up there if you're having your turkey with your sausage meat stuffing and some pigs in blankets. Oh my god! I'll give it to you, Dan. This has sounded wonderful so far. Until
I've got one controversial one at the. I'm going to save it till the end. So obviously gravy. I know.
Yeah.
I did used to know a boy who had a dry roast dinner, which just, I mean, that's like the kind of person who has water on their cereal. Like, what are you doing with your life? Sort yourself out.
Water on your cereal's a terrible thing, but milk.
That's pre-crime.
No milk on your cereal is that's galaxy brain shit.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, of course you've got to have gravy. I always have, because I'm so decadent, I always have 2 condiments on my plate. I have applesauce and cranberry sauce.
Applesauce exclusively for your pigs and blankets?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit renegade, but I'll give it to you. That's renegade. It's a bit renegade.
All right.
Just a condiment for one specific part of a larger dinner.
But it is my ideal. If you're saying like, what's the best version? This is my best version.
This is fine. This is still me in the.
Yeah, but I'm a foodie though. I'm a foodie, so my mind immediately goes to what's the best version of that I can have.
That's true. I'll allow it. It's still within the confines of the discussion.
To counter that kind of, if there's no apple sauce and we're having pigs in blankets, I'm not flipping the table. I don't care that much. Do you know what I mean?
But you're going to be in a huff.
No, I wouldn't even be in a huff. I'd think for 1 second, no apple sauce. I'm like, it don't matter, it's fine. But if it's ideal, I'd like to have it.
Yeah, I'll give you
So
that.
applesauce and cranberry sauce. I will say bread sauce can get in the fucking bin.
Oh,
Whoever. Bread sauce is fucking grim.
See, I'd never tried it until like last year, and it's all right. I tell you, I don't mind a bit of bread sauce.
Nah, not a fan. Not a fan at all.
It's not changed my life, but I'd never tell it to get in the bin. That's uncouth.
It's on my very short list of foods I just will not eat.
I feel like bread sauce is super northern though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is because it's really poor person's food. So
bread sauce and offal.
yeah, I can imagine the conversation being like the 1800s. Oh no, we got no sauce. What have we got in house? We got some bread. Can you mush it up? Yeah, you can. Fantastic. Like no,
Fucking
mushed up
get
bread.
in.
Fucking gross.
Or like, we've only got one loaf of bread to last a week. What are we gonna do? Oh, do I just add a bit of water?
Yeah. Can we turn it into sauce?
Stretch it out.
Yeah, exactly. Stretch it out. Make it last. Fantastic. And that's it. Apart from my last choice, which might be seen as a bit renegade, but we'll see. Cauliflower cheese.
Yeah. No, it's a bit extra. I'd say it's a bit extra, but it's not.
It's very extra. It's very extra. People can't handle like the creamy cheese and the gravy combined. That kind of freaks some people out.
Oh yeah. I'd have to have them quite exclusive, to be honest.
No, it's good. No, it goes good together. It goes really good together.
I can. Well, it's like cheesy chips and gravy, isn't it?
Exactly. That's a big northern staple at college.
There you go.
Chips, cheese. Well, poutine, I guess is what you describe it.
Yeah, but poutine gets all the credit when like poutine's such a big thing, and I know there's like cheese curds and stuff in there, but cheese chips and gravy, that's just cheese chips and gravy, you know what I mean? We're not making a big song and dance about it and calling it a new thing.
That's a good point, actually, yeah. And I do harken back to my days when I used to drink, and I'd come into college 9 o'clock in the morning, still steamed from the night before, and I'd just go straight to the canteen and get like chips, cheese, and gravy for my breakfast. And I'm like, oh, thank God, food.
Turn me back into a normal human being.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Anything extra for you then that I've not got?
I mean, nothing extra. Like we'll chuck a bit of broccoli in there every now and again, just as a good.
If you're feeling excitable.
Well, just if you need a bit of veg, chuck it in.
Yeah, true.
That's relatively standard.
I'm a broccoli fan as well. A lot of people hate it, but I'm a big broccoli fan.
It's all right, but it's not. I don't love it, don't hate it, sort of thing.
But that's why you put jelly deals on your Sunday dinner then.
Yeah, exactly. Being of course, being the faux cockney that I am, it's a lot of jelly deals and
There we go then.
That's about it. I don't know what I was expecting you to come out with. Like I don't know, maybe like a pie. Like just do a little pucker pie on there, chicken tikka pie as well. Or like,
a Frey Bentos chicken and mushroom.
like a naan bread.
Oh, fantastic. Just some spring rolls.
Chuck us a sage and onion naans, would you, Sarah?
Oh, dearie me. Unfortunately, yeah, a very similar taste there.
That's good though, because I feel like that could have been one that we can't get back from. If one of us had come out with something heinous. Right. I'm still a little bit on the fence about you having turkey any other time than Christmas Day, because that's a little bit sacrilege. But fair play.
What can I say? I'm living large and in charge. Well, there you go.
Good hell.
All right, let's talk some hockey, shall we?
I suppose we better.
Hey everybody, it's that time of the week. It is the smooth recap. Comparisons have been made to the Ottawa Senators and my wife at the club this week, as they both scored twice in 4 seconds.
The Coyotes have handed GM John Chayka a long-term contract extension. Owner Alex Morello clearly sees the millennial manager as having the potential to grow into a wizened, racist old hockey man over the course of the coming years.
Like the Wild West or a John Woo film, Philly fans are now behind the Flyers, who this week win 2 shootouts in a row.
I'm not one for supporting exploitative institutions such as credit unions, But hats off to Navy Federal for sponsoring an entire slate of NHL games this past week, so I can put off giving Gary Bettman any more money just a little while longer.
Zach Werenski sets the Columbus franchise record for goals by a defenseman. Expect this section of the Smooth Recap to feature quite prominently, as the player in third, Seth Jones, is still playing, and is only 2 goals behind.
It's not my patch, but fuck you, Dan. Jonathan Bernier had a 2-point game this week and is now outscoring 7 Red Wings skaters. 7 of them.
Shea Weber is the only active defenseman to hit 100 power play goals. He scored again later in the same game. Shea Weber is the only active defenseman to score 101 power play goals.
It's happening again. The Vancouver Canucks have given up another 3-0 goal, though this time it's truly 3-0, with the Jets potting an uncontested empty netter.
3 is the magic number sang De La Soul. For me though, 4 is the magic number, as the Bruins concede 4 goals late on to send the game to a 4th period, which led them to losing their 4th straight. I also said the word fuck 4 times when I saw the score this morning.
Time for a fact attack, as the Avalanche scored 6 goals in 8 minutes against the Predators this week, which is the second fastest since the 2005 lockout. Only Toronto have bested that speed run, with 6 in 7 minutes and 43 seconds.
And that was your Smooth Recap. Okay, who have you got winning the cup this week?
Mate, just before we do that, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Zach Werenski is 22 years old.
I know.
He has played, he's in his 4th season?
Yep.
Mate. And it's not even like he's been banging them in. He's scored 11, 16 and 11. And how many is he on this year?
That would be, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 then.
So he's leading the Blue Jackets all-time defenseman with like 43 goals.
That is amazing though. It's like say Seth Jones is only 2 goals behind him.
Yeah.
So I hope in the next game he gets a hat trick, and then you have to put the graphic up again. Seth Jones sets the record, and then after game after that, Zach Werenski scores 2 goals. And like, what are we doing here?
Proper rod for their own back.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But winning the cup this year, I have the one, the only, your Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
For,
I wonder why.
For one reason, Dan, and I'll tell you for why. It's banging them in left, right, and centre over a 20-minute period.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
That's all I got.
Nothing.
It's all I got for you, really.
That's fine. Yeah, and I got nothing either, apart from, like I said, shouting abuse at my phone this morning when I saw the score. Winning the cup has to be the Philadelphia Flyers, and in particular, Claude Giroux.
Claude Giroux is 1 for 3 in shootouts this season. And here he comes on Frederik Andersen and blasts it into the net.
Who scores an absolute beauty of a shootout goal. Normally, players will try and beat the keeper and play it softer than a kiss on your grandma's cheek. Well, but Giroux just went, no, fuck it, and just gave it an absolute shit pinger and blasted it in. It was great.
See, that was a bad analogy you've given there, Dan, because that slap shot was still softer than I kiss my grandma on the cheek. It's an aggressive affection. I'm glad you brought up Giroux, actually, because did you know that he joined the 700 Point Club this week? Sorry, not the 700 Point Club.
I didn't actually know that.
Not just the 700 Point Club. He's scored 700 points in this decade. So since the 2010-2011 season, he's had 700
Do you know
points.
What? I did not know that.
Don't know how many players are ahead of Giroux in doing that.
2.
No. Go on.
No. 3.
Can you name the 3?
Ovechkin, Crosby, Kane.
Oh, you've bloody seen the stat, haven't you?
I swear to God I haven't. Is that right?
Yeah. Crosby, Ovechkin, Kane, then Giroux. Which is crazy.
No way. I swear I did not know that, I swear.
Like, even if you did, this isn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm not going to give you, have a go at you for cheating. But isn't that crazy? Like, Claude, I know Giroux's been like a good player and that. It's not like bloody Blake Como's in that club or some shit like that. But yeah, I never think of Claude Giroux being the 4th highest scoring skater of the last 10 years.
No, you're right. He's an underrated player. He always pops up on underrated lists, never getting the props he deserves. And I guess there you go. There's the facts to back it up.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely putting the numbers up at the very least.
All right, who's getting relegated?
Boston Bruins, because they lost 4 games in a row. Not just the Boston Bruins, the Boston Bruins as well. Get out.
The Boston Bluets.
Yeah, that's where the confusion's coming from.
Yeah, I still got nothing, so let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. I wrote that down in the hope that they'd blown more third period leads in the last week, but they haven't, so I'm just going to have to settle on the fact that they've lost 4 in a row.
My relegation candidate this week is Sportsnet, and this is a preemptive relegation because I know before the end of the month I'll have had to have seen the headline on Twitter maybe 79 times about Mitch Marner's ankle. I've seen 5 or 6 articles already that lead with Mitch Marner being injured or the timetable of Mitch Marner, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is summer all over again.
I genuinely didn't know he was injured until maybe an hour ago.
Well, you lucky duck.
I as we've said before, Dan, I just think you follow too many Toronto-based people.
I follow Sportsnet. That's it.
That's your problem. If you follow some other people and it's not just Sportsnet, you're going to get more than just Leafs coverage.
All right, how many starters and scratches you got?
I have got a pair of starters and a single scratch.
Okay, I've got 3 starters, so I'll go first. But I do have a scratch so big, not even modern medicine could fix it because it's insane.
That's concerning.
So my first starter is the Seattle Sounders for winning the MLS Cup. Support some soccer teams wherever I can. So yeah, that was your MLS recap. There we go.
My first starter is going to be a little player by the name of Conor McDavid. See that goal he scored against the Ducks?
On his knees.
Was he on his knees? I thought maybe he was. Who knows? It was
didn't he get knocked? He got knocked down to one. Like got knocked down to one knee.
Yeah, he got knocked down and then was back up, and he was just moving so slowly, like you could just see he was like, right, well, I'm just gonna score now. There was nothing anyone else could do. He decided it's all right. It's going to happen. Do what you want. Crazy. Is that?
I think McDavid on his knees is still faster than most of the Ducks defensemen.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing. So he gets down to one knee, and just as he comes back up, he's like perpendicular to the goalie. He's like, nah, stuff it. Let's just put it in. Kid's good.
Ridiculous. He's not bad. He's not bad. My second starter, you've all seen this, and I've got to do it, but there's going to be a question at the end, is the stealth ice cream stealer from the Hurricanes game this week.
So good.
Now, there are lots of rumours out there now that this is all planned. I know. Can we not have anything nice? Can we not just enjoy this situation? But there's a rumour that these are plants, and the Hurricanes are doing it to keep viral buzz going and all that kind of thing. Which, if it's true, I would love if they did that.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Because like as soon as you say, "Oh, it was a plant," my brain's kicked in and said, "Yeah, who does that? Who would actually do that? And how? What are the chances?" Yeah, it's all too improbable to really believe it, isn't it?
There's only 2 things that make it seem improbable to me. One is that the guy doesn't notice his hand move, because when he's holding the ice cream cone, his hand, and then when the guy takes the ice cream cone out, you can see the guy's hand visibly move down because the weight of the ice cream is gone. At that point, I would turn around. And then when the guy turns around to look to see who does it, he seems to look at the guy and then look away again, as though he's seen him and then pretended not to see him.
He's like, whoops, I shouldn't have seen that.
But now I've said that, you can't not see that. And then once somebody put that idea in my head, I was thinking, oh, now I can't unsee those things. But I hope it's true. I hope it's true, because it'd be great if it was.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Let's not perpetuate taking the enjoyment out of everything by exposing how fake it clearly is.
Yeah.
My second starter is going to be Ray Ferraro of TSN fame, because ever since Ray declared Vancouver the best team in Canada, they've lost 4 games in a row. So, well done, Ray.
Was it on the show or not? What we talked about Vancouver's schedule? That was off the show, wasn't it, last week? I think you said to me about Vancouver, and I said, mate, they've got a really hard schedule coming up. And we'll see after that. We'll see after Christmas, because it's going to be really tough for them to keep this up. And they've lost 4 in a row.
Funny that, isn't it? Who would have thunk it?
And my final starter is, and these 2 first names are trademarked, so be aware, people. I'm very litigious. The new GOAT, Mr. Mount Rushmore, Sidney Crosby, has gifted his All-Star Game SUV to a veteran from the Pittsburgh area. This is our feel-good story for the week, which is lovely. There's a veteran named Madeline. She's been an Army specialist for the past 5 years and goes to school at CCAC for legal studies, and she's a single mother with a 3-year-old son. So they went on some of the veterans went on a tour of Penguins facility and all that kind of thing. Crosby brought her through this door, and there was the SUV from the All-Star Game, and said was like, "It's yours, take it," which was great.
That is great, but
no,
yeah. I always think with this sort of stuff, and I know it's really
with Crosby's money, he could have bought her a Ferrari. What a dick!
No, because that would be sincerely impractical. But yeah, like, I don't know. Giving her a new car is obviously useful and a very generous thing of Mr. Crosby to do. But the geezer's got an accumulated wealth of $120 million. Could he not have done like a bit more than just give her a car that he didn't need anyway?
Like a helicopter?
No, not like... No, I know you're trying to just belittle it by... belittle the point by saying, "Oh yeah, should have bought her a Ferrari," or "Why didn't he just give her like her own private island?" Like, but you know what I mean? Like, he could have given her a drop in the ocean for him, money-wise, and set her up for a long time. Like, yeah, I don't know, paid off her 401k or something, or paid off her the medical expenses for her and her family for the year or something like that. Like, I don't know, I'm being a bit too cynical, but to me, like, yeah, Crosby didn't need that car. He didn't even have to pay for that car. So, like, it's not really that much of a donation from... I'm just saying, it's not $10 million to a children's hospital, is what it's not.
For fuck's sake. 2 points. All right.
You can't say I'm not right, though.
I can, and here's why. 2 points. My first point is, you're saying he could have paid her medical expenses. It's America. He doesn't make that much money. Like,
hey.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Okay. The second point is, he's given her a car for free. He doesn't have to. I get it. He could have given her way more, but he doesn't have to. It was like when David Beckham went to play for Paris Saint-Germain for like 6 months, and he said, instead of giving me wages, he said, "Can you give all my wages to like a children's hospital that's like sort of down the road from where we're playing?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, sure." And everyone just came out of the woodwork with, "Well, why doesn't he give them blah blah blah? He never gave this to blah blah blah." And he's giving hundreds of thousands of pounds to a children's hospital. What's the bad story here?
See, I don't think...
And there's going to be, I guarantee as well, there's going to be so much that Crosby does that doesn't even get reported. Like that little Penguins program I told you about the other week, where he, like, all the girls got to go to the game, that he kind of donates all the stuff to their, to their club and everything.
Yeah,
this is just one of the things that came out.
I'll give you that. But to equate it to the Beckham thing, I think is unfair, because yeah, Beckham's given away far more than that car is worth, and it's like a more, not a more tangible asset, but
yeah, but that's just one thing Crosby's done. He clearly does way more than that. That's just one of the things for this week.
Yeah,
he probably does this every week. This is just the first week we've heard about it.
Just gives away all these. I don't know. You were the man who was ragging on the mum for exploiting her child about going to the Maple Leafs game last week. I thought you'd be far more with me on this than suddenly being... I suppose if it was anyone other than Sid, you'd be completely with me in chastising them and their lack of generosity.
Don't you dare disparage Mr. Mount Rushmore. Trademark. Okay.
Should I...
You've got one... You do your scratch first.
I was going to say, as yours is supposedly so monumental, I better get my paltry one out of the way. First, I'm going to scratch HC Dynamo Moscow, one of the Moscow-based KHL teams.
Yeah.
I couldn't decide whether to start this or scratch this because I don't quite know whether this is an incredible piece of satire or not. But at the same time, whether it is or it isn't, it's still sort of rooted in the issues that are wrong with this. So I won't spoil anything that's going to come up later in the show, but a certain hockey pundit was relieved of their duties this week, and Dynamo Moscow tweeted out to this pundit saying, yo, you can come and work for us. Basically, yeah, you can say whatever you want and we won't censor you, etc., etc. And now there's a chance that was great satire because, you know, if they know that Don Cherry hates Russians, I would never want to go to Russia and work for Russia. So yeah, that could be an incredible bit of comedy they've done there. But it is still rooted in the fact that they openly hate immigrants and LGBTQ people and people of colour, etc., etc., and would openly support all of Don Cherry's fascist views. So, thumbs up, thumbs down. Dynamo Moscow, you choose.
Yeah, Dynamo Moscow saying come over here, you can say whatever you want, because we all know what a bastion of free speech Russia is, don't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, you can say what you want as long as it's disparaging the people that we want to disparage.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you might not even believe this, it's so ridiculous, but hang on. Did you hear the story this week about the rapper T.I. and his daughter?
Oh my god, I've talked about basically nothing else.
All right, folks, strap yourselves in. If you're driving, pull over, because this might be, you might crash your car to hear this.
If you're driving,
so this
pull
week,
over.
Serious, rapper T.I. admitted he takes his daughter, who's now 18 years old, to the doctors for virginity tests, and he has the doctor check to see if her hymen is still there. Will, your thoughts?
Do I really need to even spells out? He's mental. Like that.
Isn't that insane?
Not only is that insane, like that's insanely like regressive and abusive. Yeah, exactly. Invasive. It's like horrendous behaviour. It's horrendous behaviour fueled by absolute insanity. Like the geezer's basically gone on to, was it radio or a podcast? So same difference. He's gone to his show.
Yeah, it was on a podcast, I think.
And admitted, I'm severely mentally unstable and a psychopath, and I'm abusing my family. Unprompted.
Here's the other thing as well, right? I'm not sure if Mr. T.I., or maybe I'll call him by I'll call him by his title. I'm not sure if Mr. I knows this.
Mr. I.
First name T. He's encouraging his daughter via strange means to have sexual intercourse other ways, just not via the classical methods you would think of having sex with a female.
Traditionally referred to as up the wrong un, Dan.
Yeah. Indeed, up the wrong un.
Which is arguably more dangerous for her.
Yes.
If that is what she's doing. Not that I know, but not having any experience of being a woman or having T.I. as my dad. But if T.I. was my dad and I was in his daughter's shoes, I'd probably be put off, you know, if dad's mental enough to take me to the gynaecologist to check that I've not burst my hymen, even though that's not a distinct indicator of whether I'm having sexual intercourse or not. I'd probably just steer clear of any of that trouble at all. You know, think, right, whatever, I'm here at the moment, I'll ride it out. And
poor choice of words.
I hate engaging in these conversations with you. Start talking to a bloody 15-year-old. Let's just say I dedicate my time to other pursuits, knowing that my dad's mental.
Couldn't agree more. So that was the last scratch, wasn't it? You didn't have another one, did you?
No, I didn't have it. For fear of T.I. coming in and demanding my medical records, no, I do not have anyone else to scratch.
Fantastic.
Sorry, demanding his medical records.
So before we get to our guest and the news, we are on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and anywhere else we can come in your ears. A 5-star review on iTunes is great for us and better for you. So next time you're pinching a loaf, stick one on there, and that'll help us a lot. It is the second part of our interview with NHL history girl Jen. This week we are discussing, amongst other things, her favourite player and is hockey progressing. An unbelievable thing to be discussing this week of all weeks. But here she is again, Jen Conway. In sort of studying hockey history and researching it then, do you feel the game has progressed?
I think it's moved on a little. I think it's gotten better. But progress in the NHL is not necessarily measured in large leaps. It's usually measured in small steps when it comes to stuff like this, especially social stuff. I think it's going to keep getting better because the fans now are more vocal and more demanding, and they can vote with their wallets, I guess, as well, which makes a little difference. I don't know if it makes a whole lot of difference, but it makes a little difference. So I think we have hope, especially with guys like Jonathan Taves leading the way on sort of green initiatives or advocating, these environmental issues. I think that's a great example of what other players could do if they wanted to. So I have hope.
If we can just get a Jonathan Taves or an Andrew Ferrance of social issues rather than environmental issues, then we'll really be, treading in the right direction, sort of thing.
Exactly. One of the things that really bothers me is that when it comes to the issue of minorities in the NHL, they expect the minority players to be the ones leading the way and leading the charge. But the truth is, the burden isn't on them completely. It should be on their teammates as well. Just because Wayne Simmons is working with Willie O'Ree's inner city hockey initiatives, that doesn't mean that some of his white teammates can't come out and help as well on a more regular basis. That's not a change that you can expect from the five the five minority players in the league. I know there are more, but I'm being a little facetious here. I know.
I was going to say, I think it's 4 now that Devontae Smith-Pelly is out in China.
But yeah, you have to make it easier as a whole for minority players as well to want to keep playing and to be welcome in this environment.
I think it's a thing where you're spot on with saying that you need white players to support the minority initiatives, but it's also showing opposition and almost disdain and distrust of players like Max Domi. We need an environment where you can't put players like Max Domi still on a pedestal after saying all the reprehensible things he has said about immigrants and only lead you to think, what could he possibly think about his own minority, teammates and players within the league? It's once we need that combination of both supporting and demonising, supporting the initiatives and demonising players who have those sort of views.
Domi is a weird case to me because his grandfather was an immigrant to Canada, a political refugee, who had a bullet in his skull from fighting.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's a very, very strange situation to me that he would say these things, especially knowing his own family history.
I think the problem is as well is that the media, I kind of go back to Matthews, but it's the most recent thing, is that the media will then spend 2 or 3 weeks talking about it. Braden Holtby goes to Pride and there's one tweet and that's it. Instead of sort of saying, the media having a 5-minute, or even a 5-minute segment on NHL Tonight or something like that, saying, hey, look what was happening today at Pride. Braden Holtby's there. He's a great guy. Look, he's supporting everybody. Whereas this sensationalist, obviously bad news is great news for the media because this one thing happens and they're like, great, we can dine out on this for weeks.
I'm hoping things will change the further along we go. So historically, up until probably the 80s, 90s, a lot of hockey players didn't have an education to really speak of. They all dropped out of high school. There were a couple, I think, that didn't get past grade 8 or 9. Education wasn't a big priority because you were playing hockey and you were making money at it. And in the summer, you had a job selling cars or in a factory or whatever. So you made a living. You didn't have to have an education. And so I think that's part of it, is that past generations were sort of less educated and didn't have to think about these things because of the time frame that they played in. They just didn't have to think about these sorts of things. But now we have players who are under strict rules when they play high school hockey or junior hockey. They have to have certain grades and they have to have certain attendance, and now they're becoming educated. You have a lot more college players. You have a lot more players who are more socially active, more well-traveled, more experienced. Like, they're just more now. And so I think that with the change in those circumstances, you're going to see a change in player mentalities. But that being said, I also understand why a lot of players are still really conservative, because you have a lot of money, you tend to be conservative about things that might affect your money and your status. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely. It's just, I've said to Dan before, it's a shame that these conservative, primarily conservative players are pretending to be more working class than they are, sort of thing. Like hockey as a culture prides itself on working class ideals when it's made up of the players are middle to upper class, the management are middle to upper class. Like it's not a working class game at all.
Well, not anymore.
No, absolutely not.
Because with the intense rise in costs for tournaments, leagues, equipment, it's almost impossible to be a lower working class family and have kids playing hockey these days.
I think it was is it Coach Jeremy? Is he how to hockey? It was one of the
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Coach Jeremy posted on Twitter about registering one of his children for hockey this season, and it was like $600 for registering them to a travel team, and that's just astronomical, absolutely astronomical. I wanted my son to play, so I signed him up for skating lessons. He's like 3. I'm signing him up for skating lessons and all of this. And the first time I signed him up for like the little tiny kids league, he refused to play, and that was it. He was done. He didn't want to play, and I'm okay. That's fine. And I was disappointed, but looking back, there's no way I could have afforded for him to play more than 1 year. How depressing is that? That you look at these league fees and you're going, okay, well, that's 3 months worth of groceries. I can't do that. Yeah. And even it's a sad thing for the children who become really passionate about it, and then the pressure it puts on parents to think, right, okay, little Johnny, little Jenny want to play hockey, so we're going to have to cut back on X, Y, and Z. Mum and dad are going to have to work double shifts or whatever it might be. The intense pressure that this sport must be putting on thousands of families around the world, let alone around Canada, is really disappointing. You'd have thought that there's got to be something that the league as a whole can do, or Hockey Canada. Like, I'm not particularly up to speed with what sort of funding and grants there are from the NHL and Hockey Canada, but you don't have to look very far to know that it's not enough.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely not enough. And there's a new book out, Sean Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Before the Lights Go Out. It's just a whole study on what's going on in Canada and how the game has changed and why people aren't playing anymore. And, if it's going to cost you $600 in registration fees and another, say, $500 in gear, you could play soccer for, $100 a year. What do you think the choice is going to be? I mean,
hey, just remind of Dan's childhood. £5 for a ball, £40 for a pair of boots, a couple of jumpers for goalposts, and you're well away for an entire year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just crazy, absolutely crazy.
Basically forcing a non-choice.
So how do you, moving back to sort of the history side and your Twitter account and all the work you do in regards to that, how do you keep everything in check in regards to this happened on this day? Do you have like an Excel spreadsheet that's 50,000 lines long, or how do you do that?
So Google Calendar, isn't it?
I have 355 Word documents.
Oh, wow.
One for every day of the year plus leap year.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I update them as I can. I slip and miss. I try to get, 1,000th game, 500th goal, that sort of thing. And sometimes I slip and miss just because I'm busy or sick or whatever.
So with knowing that off the top of your head, Jen, is there a particular date that has the largest document? Like, this is the busiest day historically in the hockey season?
There are a couple in the spring that I start. I send out a tweet every 2 minutes. Usually between 10 and 11. There are a couple of days in the spring that I start at 10 and end at like 11:15 or so, 11:30, somewhere in there.
That's crazy.
And
Wow.
it's usually because it's a trade day or it was a popular birthday, or, the trade days get a little weird, I will admit, because there's so many trades and so much information that I squeeze some of it into my head and other stuff just pops out. So I go back and I'm like, oh, really? This is a trade that happened? Am I sure about this? I have self-doubt, and I have to go back and look the trade up. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's a weird trade.
The ones worth forgetting are the ones that always pop out.
Yeah, the stuff that falls out of my head and I have to try and shove it back in while something else pops out. One of these days I'm going to forget how to tie my shoes or something.
You need to get like an assistant to store the extra information for you. Like, right, I've just forgotten this. You remember that, and then I'll come back to you as like my my auxiliary brain.
It'd be like having a living hard drive, almost.
Yeah.
My boyfriend Scott, who does 3 podcasts of his own, good lord, I don't know how he does that, is very much into, he's sort of a equipment geek.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a photo I can't identify, I'll show it to him and he's like, oh, well, those gloves plus that stick in that jersey, that means it's this player and not that one. And I'm like, how do you do this?
That's
And
so
he doesn't
good.
like, I can identify them by their masks and that sort of thing, but with him, he just takes a look at like the stick plus one of their pads and he's like, oh, that's obviously. And I'm going, yeah, sure, obviously. And he does numbers too, like jersey numbers. So I'm like, hey, who was number 37 on the Bruins in 85? And he just tells me. I'm just like, how do you do that? And he looks at me and he's like, I don't know. How do you do what you do?
How can you not do that?
Yeah.
I can barely keep up with jersey numbers for everybody in the league this season, let alone for all of humankind sort of thing. That's quite a set of brains in your house there, Jen.
Yeah, we're a good match.
So you follow the University of North Dakota, is that right?
Yes.
Or you go to their games? Yes. What differences, aside from the blindingly obvious, because obviously 2 English buffoons like ourselves, we don't really watch that much college hockey. What differences do you notice between,
much.
obviously... Well, yeah. What differences do you notice between the college game and, what happens at the NHL level?
College hockey is definitely more finesse, skill hockey. There's less big hitting. So like those big, those big hits that you see in the NHL generally don't happen in college hockey a whole lot. There might be 1, 2 per game, but not, not constant like a NHL game. It's more about passes. It's more about plays. UND's penalty power play is going to kill me, but
So
they're
that's a nice mirror with a lot of NHL teams this year then.
Oh, they're better than last year. I will say that. They're not scoring on the power play, but they're not allowing goals, and that's the important thing. That was a problem last year.
I was wondering, does it feel more pure, almost? Is that the right word? Or not?
No, just different.
No, just different. Okay.
It's not better. It's not worse. It's just different. College hockey players have to wear the full cage. So you can't. So it's not like the NHL where there's visors, no visors. It's everybody has to wear a cage. There's a little more, I don't know, joy to college hockey in a sense, because it's about the plays, and when you score a goal, there's this whole like production that goes off, and I don't think the NHL does that really, at least anymore. But at UND, you score a goal. There's the horn. There's the fireworks that go off. There's the goal song. There's these things that shoot out like fog that go off above the boards, and then there's like these red lights, like the police lights that go off. I mean, it's just this huge production, and the players do like little dances or whatever and celebrate, and so it's a little more pure in that sort of joyful, celebratory sense. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I think that side of North American sports, full stop, is so alien to me, and I'm sure to you as well, Dan, the whole sort of collegiate and just school spirit side of it. Because, I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
we just don't have that in the UK at all. There's no emphasis put on, if you're playing university sports or even secondary school sports, like, you're not the elite sort of thing. Nobody's turning out to a Cambridge University soccer game sort of thing, because
nobody's showing up in face paint and
yeah, exactly.
No one shows up at all because nobody cares.
That's the thing. Even within the schools, there's no element to that, and it boggles my mind when you see even like these high school football stadiums, like American football stadiums that hold thousands and thousands of people. It's just insane.
Yeah, there's a really ugly side to it, more so in football than hockey, but there's a really ugly side to college athletics that goes on as well.
Is that more than just the exploitation of the players and their sort of image rights and earning power, for want of a better term?
Yeah, schools have been sanctioned because they have players who are attending non-existent courses. Or, there's like a test taking scandal, or these non-existent courses. Or so some of these kids who are playing college football are just there to play football. They're really not there for an education, and I think they're doing a disservice to themselves. But that's not for me to judge. That's their life. You don't see it really happening in college hockey. Really, college hockey is a pretty clean record. Not squeaky clean, but pretty clean.
I'd imagine, in the way of comparing hockey to football, full stop, there's less demand to bend and stretch the rules for college hockey versus college football, fair to say.
Yeah, no, there's tons of reasons, or tons of incentive to break the rules in college football, unless in college hockey. However, programs like the University of North Dakota pride themselves on being an upstanding, no corners cut sort of place, and that makes it more attractive to college hockey recruits, because they know this is a place where they can play safely, not get in trouble. So there's an appeal in college hockey to that sort of conformity and adherence to the rules. We mentality again too.
Definitely, and for UND, like, I think that reflects in their graduates to the NHL to an extent. The most obvious one being Jonathan Taves, and even players like Anders Lee and stuff. They're sort of, you can see a pattern in the, not strictly the type of player, but almost the type of person that comes from UND to play in the NHL. So it's definitely, there is some element of identity that is almost branded on them as people.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's an identity. It's a certain type of mentality and discipline that you'll see out of college players. TJ Oshie is another big one, and he's
UND as well.
Yes, he was, and he's kind of a local guy. Local being, like, I think his family's from 2 hours away, so local enough. And when you come from farm country, that's really local.
That's basically next door neighbor.
Exactly. And he's when they did their outdoor game at Navy Stadium, Scott and I went, and we asked him if he was following UND hockey at all anymore, and he's like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." Like, it wasn't even a question.
Is a Sky Blue? Do you follow UND hockey?
Yeah, it's a very deep bond that past players have, and they come back and visit, and they see the team and talk to them, and keep in touch with current players and give them advice, and it's almost like a fraternity in a sense.
So as we sort of round up this talk here, I feel like we could go on for another hour or so actually, but I think we'll have to have you on again at some point, Jem, because this has been absolutely fascinating. I've only got one more question. I always like to finish on a less serious question.
Is it about Tony Hand?
Oh, Jen.
No, and this is why we need to have you back on again. No, it was, do you have a favourite historical figure? Not just hockey, anybody.
Oh, I have several. I'm a big fan of Alice Roosevelt.
Would it be unfair to assume that's Teddy's wife?
No, it's Teddy's daughter.
Okay.
She was just her own person, and nobody was going to control her, not least of her father. And she did what she wanted, and she enjoyed her life, and she did really cool things. So I'm a huge fan of her for that. He put me
Just
on the
to
spot.
interject, we kind of have that over here in this country with Prince Harry at the moment. I feel as though he's the same kind of... he's kind of gone his own way and decided to forge his own path instead of following, obviously, his brother.
Yeah, and I was really impressed with that letter he put out.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing.
That was fantastic. I was really pleased to see that. I guess I'm kind of a big fan of the iconoclast in history. The person who stands up and says, this isn't the right way. I'm going to go this way.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are probably my favorite people. My favorite hockey player is Arturs Urbe.
Ooh, good choice.
I love him. I was in Dallas for the draft, not last year, not the summer before. And we were invited to the opening of a hockey history museum, a Texas hockey history museum, I should specify. And they had a bunch of players there from the Dallas Stars, alumni, I should say, from the Stars. So Lettinen was there, Turco was there, Ludwig was there, and the person who invited me at the time was the team historian for the Dallas Stars. So we're there, we're eating food, and he grabs me. He's like, okay, Jen, you got to come. I want to introduce you to Marty Turco. You're going to love this. I'm okay, fine. So he introduces me to Marty, and he says, this is Jen. She's a hockey historian too. And she wants to be a goalie. She's learning to be a goalie. And you could just see Marty's head like whip around, like, what?
Did someone say the G word?
and he looks at me and he's like, why? And I just shrugged and I said, because I made the mistake of seeing Arturs Urbe play when I was like this tall, and that was it. That it's been that ever since. I love Archie. And he's like, me too. And then we proceed to be like fangirls about Urbe for the next 5 minutes.
I absolutely love it when, no matter what the sport, high-level athletes are still fans of the sport and fans of other players. Because far too often you get players that they get into the league and then like I'm part of this now, so I can't enjoy it anymore. I've got to have professionalism, and they're not inspiration, they're rivals, sort of thing. And to hear that about Turco, who's already an incredible person, just warms my cockles.
He's hilarious. I 2 thumbs up. I posted a picture of him, I think, posing for an all-star game, and it was one of those where you sit on the bar stool and you're dressed nicely, and okay, now stare off into the distance. And I asked him, I'm like, were you staring longingly at the beer? Like, what was going on here? And he's like, no, it was the beer. I love Urbe. I always loved him as a player, and he always seemed so good-natured, and it just really appealed to me. And then, doing my little historian research, he grew up poor. Not a surprise. He made his own equipment. That's really cool.
Wow.
And then, in the last days of being a Soviet bloc country, there were hardliners who were trying to come in to Latvia and reclaim the country. And so there were these rumors that, there would be tanks and these hardliners coming in and all of this. Archie and his wife manned a barricade in Riga for 2 days.
Jeez Louise.
Wow.
And then, after his playing days, he started a charity to help childhood victims of abuse. And I don't think I could love a human being more than I love Archie.
A genuinely incredible human being. That's so cool.
Like, everybody on Twitter now knows how much I love him. Well, most people do. And so the other day he was on a Stars broadcast. I got like 3 tweets. Your boy's on TV, and I was like frantically trying to get to the channel.
Straight onto Reddit streams to find the Stars game.
Yes,
Fantastic.
I don't get starstruck very often, but if I met him, I would probably get a little nervous.
Yeah, but then that's to have so many compounding reasons to be starstruck by a person. Who could blame you, Jen? I wanted to ask one last question, and I feel bad that I didn't squeeze it in before that much better one. Jen, if you could revive one franchise from the past, who would it be, and why would it be the California Golden Seals?
I wouldn't revive the Seals for the sheer fact that there are already too many California teams.
Yeah, that's a good as good a reason as any.
I would probably revive the Nordiques, actually, because pretty much everywhere else that had a team that folded in the past now has one. So
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Oakland. Oakland doesn't have a team, but you know, that area.
Same difference.
Yeah, that area has multiple teams. So the only one left would be like the Hamilton Bulldogs, the New York Americans, or the Nordiques. The Calgary Flames started out as the Atlanta Flames.
Yeah, if we could just move them back, that'd be lovely.
Just in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Like
wow.
Like
they Paul Brown.
Browns out of
Yes, Paul Brown, yeah.
Yeah.
Out of Cleveland.
Yeah.
So the Nordics is a good choice. So I really do think that the NHL is like not just geographically to have another team in Quebec, which is a severely underserved province for hockey, considering how passionate it has been throughout the years. But you know, if you polled 100 hockey fans to name a defunct franchise, the Nordiques are going to be number one. Like, they are so iconic in every single way. They're the ones you'd have to bring back.
And I have nothing against bringing back an Atlanta hockey team. The question there would be ownership. I think that would be your biggest question there, because you already had a fan base pretty well built. I mean, it wasn't like a super huge fan base, but it was a good start. And they were a solid fan base. And you even had celebrity fans like Little John. I think the biggest problem there, would be ownership. And ownership that would be willing to put up with a couple of shaky seasons before getting things really, really on off the ground. The problem in Quebec City is, again, it's a smaller city. That's always going to be the argument against it, always and forever. It's too small. And they're going to argue that the arena there isn't right. And I think it would be fine because, yes, it's a small market. You don't need a 18,000 seat arena.
Is the Centre Videotron not that big then? I was always under the impression that it was a really good state of the art, etc., etc.
It is, but people are going to tie that argument of this market is too small to the arena isn't big enough to, there's always going to be reasons people are going to cite. I mean, how long have the Carolina Hurricanes been around? And people are still arguing that hockey doesn't belong in South Carolina or North Carolina. Sorry.
The continued success of all the Sunbelt teams is, begs the question of why we even have this conversation about any of them. But I think it's a problem where for every sort of, the Stars and the Lightning and the Hurricanes, for every successful franchise that you get, it's, you're going to have a Coyotes or a Panthers for them. Oh, sorry, I'm struggling for words.
The naysayers.
The naysayers. That's what I couldn't get the word haters out of my brain, and I didn't want to say it. The naysayers to point at and say this is why hockey in the South doesn't work. So, there's always an excuse.
I mean, the Panthers went to the Cup final in their second year of existence. The Canes won a cup. The Tampa Bay has won. There's no point anymore in saying that hockey doesn't belong there. They all have solid fan bases. They all have popular merchandise. They all have, every metric you have, they're all popular enough. So at some point, this should die. I don't know if it will or not.
There we go. There you have it, people. The conversation about hockey teams in the South should die from the woman who knows the history of the league better than anyone else.
Well, there was
Hockey's
a
Indiana
sunshine
Jones,
league in the was it the 20s or the 30s? Yeah, there was a league down in Florida.
Oh Christ! No, I'm thinking of the current league.
Florida had a hockey league before the NHL even ever thought of Florida. It was back in the, I want to say, the late 20s. It was called the Sunshine League.
Oh, but that's just beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
We need to exile the Lightning and the Panthers so they can restart the Sunshine League.
Oh, I just looked out the window and it's snowing. Sorry.
That's it.
Okay, no, that's
The antithesis of the Sunshine League.
Okay then, so we're definitely going to call this part 1 of 2, I feel, because there's so much we haven't actually touched on. But for right now, Jen, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Not really. I mean, you all know where to find me, so.
Fantastic. Okay then, Jen, thank you so much for your time. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, I'm sorry I started rambling like right from the get-go.
No, that's
No.
exactly what we specialise in, Jen. It's all
Yeah,
about
go on.
rambling.
Nobody wants to hear us talk anymore, Jen. It's fine. Like, the guests are the star of the show, so thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. And anytime you guys want to talk about like British hockey history or any questions you have about the NHL's past or anything, I'm good. I know something about it.
That's perfect. I'm looking forward to another 45 minutes on just Tony Hand alone.
Somebody once asked me if I thought Tony Hand ever had a serious chance at the NHL, and I was like, well, yes, but he didn't want to. That's the thing.
That's the most sacrilegious question anyone could ever ask about Saint Hand. It's just, of course, no. We will save this for the next time, and we will discuss exactly how much better than Wayne Gretzky Tony Hand would have been.
That would have... And I have a
Okay.
whole list of British and Irish born hockey players that people probably would never guess. So
As long as it starts with Liam Kirk and ends with Liam Kirk, that's all that matters.
well, I would say Owen Nolan, but he was born in Belfast. That's Northern Ireland. So
We'll still count Owen Nolan. He can still be part of the list.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
very
for your
much
time,
again,
Jen. It's been a
This has been
real
great.
honest pleasure. Honest pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your
Yes,
Sunday,
for
Jen.
sure.
yeah, I'll talk to you guys next time.
Excellent.
Okay, take care.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Jen.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go. A fantastic talk again with NHL history girl Jen. Just to reiterate, she was amazing, wasn't she?
Oh, she was incredible. Absolutely incredible. The whole interview was buoyed by the fact that her favourite player, Art Zerbe, is a former star. Really got her some extra brownie points. But no, I mean, even before having an actual conversation with her, Jen's incredible. Like anyone involved in hockey Twitter in any way, shape, or form, she's like a default follow. For me, you're not gonna. Where else are you going to get such an insightful history into the game that is so obsessed with its past? Nowhere.
Definitely. And she got a new job this week, so congrats, Jen. Well done.
Well done, Jen.
All right. Welcome back to this week's edition of Hey It's Hockey, and someone's a fucking idiot. This week's winner, of course, Mr. Don Cherry.
Good thing about this bit of heinous hockey activity for the week is we can actually revel in the positive side of this.
Well, I see I'm doing this to you now. Well,
Are you familiar
we'll
with
go on. We'll go on. We'll go on.
the old rhyme, "Ding dong, the witch is dead"?
Yeah, but it's how we got there. Let's just quickly.
Yeah, can't. Let's surmise it for anyone who's been living under a rock for last week.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go straight into this side of it, because obviously we don't need to surmise it. He said some fucking awful things. Now, I'm not going to absolve Don Cherry for what he said. I want to talk a bit more about Sportsnet and Rogers, who continually employed this guy when it was clear that this was the kind of person he was. What did they think would happen? The guy's 85 years old, and Sportsnet are coming out appearing to be, we're completely caught off guard by his comments. And I've made this comment before, but we all remember that time when we're talking to Grandad, and he says something, and we go, oh, he's a fucking racist. Shit. I had no idea until now. It's only just hit me. This has been happening at Sportsnet for how long now? And it's only and of course they've only just done something about it. And language plays a massive part in social situations. And by saying "you people," it is blindingly obvious what he's doing. The phrase is clearly divisive. He is given a national platform to say what he wanted to say. And it's fine if some dumb fucking cunt like Tommy Robinson or that hot dog water drinker Nigel Farage is spouting off bullshit somewhere. I can avoid those comments because I choose not to pay attention to what they're saying. Before a national broadcast, it's different. And the issue comes because Sportsnet thought this would all blow over. And again, not absolving him for what he said. What he said was wrong. But the way Sportsnet handled it was so idiotic and not worse, but they were both as bad as each other. because Sportsnet come out with some fluffy bullshit apology, thinking it's okay, we'll do this, we'll get through the weekend, and then it'll be fine. It was 2 reasons why he got fired. One was the backlash just kept going, and the apology made it worse. The Sportsnet apology was, like I said, just fluff, and that made it worse. That didn't kind of placate the situation in any way. And the second one is that you know for a fact they went to him and said, you have to apologise. And he told them to fuck off, probably. Because Ron McLean goes on TV a couple of days after and says he's sorry. Those are the 2 reasons why. The backlash kept going and he clearly would not apologise.
The issue that carries on, even though Don Cherry's gone, is the fact that, yeah, you fired Don Cherry for his racist remarks, but the institution that enabled and propped up and defended this man for the last 38 years of national broadcast remains. Like you say, they didn't fire him on the spot. Ron McLean, yeah, we'll talk about Ron McLean in a minute, but Ron McLean didn't even stop him during the broadcast, which is an issue in itself. And it just represents the fact that, you know, Sportsnet can come out with as many typed up, letter-headed responses saying, oh, this doesn't represent Sportsnet's values and this doesn't represent what we want to put across to our Canadian people. Like, yes, it does. He has done for years and years and years, and he has said other things that many have argued are much worse than this.
Yeah,
I think about Don Cherry in the way that I think I view Pierre Maguire. Like, I don't know if you feel the same, Dan, but where we don't have Hockey Night in Canada over here, where we don't have the NBC broadcast as regularly over here, you're not as in tune to them. Like, I don't know. I'm like Don Cherry, for better or worse, is not ingrained into my psyche as part of hockey.
Yeah,
so
me neither.
I don't necessarily. I'm not familiar with the things he's said in the past, aside from secondhand sources, and equally he's not. Yeah, it's not like Gary Lineker and Match of the Day sort of thing. It's not that. He is not the face of hockey on Saturday night for us. But yeah, the point stands. Nothing's really changed until Sportsnet prove it's changed. And the fact that Ron McLean, the host of Hometown Hockey, which is a show that specifically is designed to... It's like the one show combined with hockey. That's
an amazing reference.
Thank you very much. It's to, supposedly to showcase Canadian values and like Canada through the lens of hockey, every aspect of Canada. The fact that the man who hosts that program, you don't know whether Ron McLean was gonna apologise, whether Don was fired or not. But still, the fact that he didn't catch him in the moment, the fact that Ron McLean in that moment was not an ally to those people, where he had as much of a platform as Don Cherry did, and he was the only one of the few who could have stopped Don Cherry and not rectified the situation, but addressed the situation immediately. The fact that McLean didn't do that is extremely disappointing. And yeah, until Sportsnet prove otherwise, they're not admonished from this either. Absolutely not. They're just as culpable for giving Don Cherry the platform to spew this hate time and time and time and time again. There was a whole thing, sorry, I'm absolutely rambling now, but there was a whole thing last summer where it sort of came out that he had been let go, hadn't had his contract renewed, and then he came back. It was never confirmed, sort of thing. So the fact that Sportsnet had all these opportunities to part ways with Don Cherry, but decided that his character, his persona, was enough of a cash cow, enough of a sort of figurehead to pin their hockey coverage on, to bring him back and only drop him after severe public backlash after another heinous incident, shows that they backed Don Cherry every step of the way.
Here's the thing though, right? If you went on Twitter after that news came down, it was 50-50. People celebrating, people furious. I was very surprised. I mean, people are threatening to stop watching Hockey Night in Canada, which is bizarre, if you ask me. The show's called Hockey Night in Canada, not Don Cherry Stand-Up Hour. I mean, you're going to stop watching a channel because of one 5-minute segment with 2 old dudes in it. Okay, whatever, that's weird. But there was a lot of people who were furious. And
that's
this.
the thing.
I mean,
Dan,
crazily.
You say 50-50, but that's just of what you see. I'd love to know what the actual figures are for the whole of Twitter. I reckon there's a vast majority out. It's almost the tip of the iceberg that we're seeing. I reckon there's a lot more pro Don Cherry out there that we're not seeing. And with the whole backlash to Cherry's firing and like the support that's coming out for Don Cherry is so saddening because of it's not, the whole I stand with Don Cherry. Like, it's not like, oh, we just don't think he should be on there anymore. No, it's I agree with his racist sentiment.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, are you wearing a poppy?
Not right now.
Do you regularly wear a poppy?
No.
Neither do I. Obviously, I completely respect what was given up in World War One, like respect to those who lost their lives and stuff like that to fight for our freedoms in this day and age. But no, I don't wear a poppy. Is Don Cherry out there attacking the white people in downtown Toronto who aren't wearing poppies? No, he's not. You people who come for our milk and honey, how can you invoke a biblical phrase like that is directly attacking Jesuits who do not have a homeland? And then claim that it's not a racial thing. Fuck. They're everywhere.
Ridiculous. Everywhere.
And then he just leans into it by going on Tucker Carlson.
Fuck's sake. And did you see as well that Jeremy Ronet came out today in support of Don Cherry?
Yeah, and Nazem Kadri, weirdly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nazem Kadri, Don Cherry fan. All right, mate. Great.
Here's the thing. If he'd have said, I'm furious at people who don't wear poppies. Everyone in this country should wear a poppy. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like you say, he didn't say that. He said, you people. And I don't want to fucking hear semantics. We all know what that means. You people. And he's right. Do you know what? To be fair, everyone should wear a poppy. I agree with that sentiment. Wherever you're from, you should wear a poppy because guaranteed, even if you were on in the First World War, even if your country historically was on the side of wrong, your country still sacrificed in a horrific way young men and women who went to war and died for essentially the wills of older people or politicians deciding this is what should happen. Mm-hmm. And it's an absolute travesty it ever came to that ever. And then to do it again years later. But the First World War was, let's all charge over here, we'll keep throwing human suffering at it until they run out of bullets. And that's what it was. And everybody should wear a poppy. Now, I don't wear a poppy, but my daughter, she has a poppy, she has a wristband, she has a pencil with a poppy on it. She has all that kind of stuff. And we make her aware of what happened, and wherever we are, we do the minute silence and all that kind of thing. But I don't wear one. But I should. You know what? I probably should. And that sentiment, I completely agree with. Young people have to know about this thing. It is, in my opinion, it's very important. But he singled out you people. It's clearly fucking racist. I don't understand how people can't see that or grasp that. Or I can't see how people see that and grasp that and then decide that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely mental, Dan. Absolutely mental. And this could easily just evolve into ranting about issues with borders and racism and prejudice against someone being born somewhere else.
I guarantee what this turns into. I guarantee this turns into, why don't you support the troops? Well, that's what it turns into.
I just basically wouldn't. No, because it's not. The flashpoint in the comments isn't about supporting the troops and supporting war, because it's not supporting war. It's it's honouring the past.
But fans of his will turn it into, these people don't, you people don't support the troops. That's what it is.
People shouldn't have to support the troops.
No, let's not. We'll be here all day.
Anyway,
all right, just quickly then to round this off. Then now we've talked about Don Cherry going. What do you make of Ron McLean's part in all this? Because he apologises for failing to intervene, and do you know what? If I was in his position, I'd like to think I would have said something, but honestly, I don't know if I would have done, because I don't know if at that time, in my brain, it's not like Homewood, the drumming monkey. I'm not just thinking to myself, oh, fucking Don's off on one again. Not even listening to what he's saying. Because Ron can't be paying attention all the time to what this fucking psychopath's ranting on about. He can't be.
You can see it in the geezer's face. Every time I've seen a snippet of Don Cherry going off on something, it's like, what is the point of Ron being here? Just to emphasise how monotonous and boring this guy is.
So I'm not gonna throw Ron under the bus and come on it and play high and mighty and say, well, I would have said something. Honestly, I don't know if I would have done. I like to think I would have done, but I'm not gonna lie and say I definitely 100% would have done, because I'm not sure if I would have or not.
And to be fair to Ron McLean, like the way he apologised, it wasn't one of those, I'm sorry that people were offended by what I said. It did seem relatively sincere, and I think in some respect Ron McLean's built up enough goodwill to enact such a sincere apology, seemingly sincere, and for us to believe him and give him that. Ron McLean's not the one who said it. It would have been good to see him step in, but for me that apology is enough to give him a bit more good grace for now, sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we talk about what do you think is going to happen next? Because we're basically 3 days away now from next Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah, I've got no idea. Do you know, actually, I hope they have an immigrant coach from who's coaching in Canada, just comes out dressed in a poppy suit or something. Just really.
Don't talk to me about. Did you read poppy suits like that one that was at the footy?
Yes, exactly. Just an immigrant dressed as a poppy, just to really fuck up everyone's fucking day, who gets so butthurt over this kind of stuff.
Just Hockey Night in Canada, Puljujärvi edition. They're 5 minutes.
Yeah, genuinely, the best idea was they should have a new person on, or like a rotating cast of 10 or 12 or something, but not just all fucking white dudes or old white guys. Have a young black coach on, have an older female coach on. Just fucking rotate it a bit. Let's really have some diversity now. I've made the comment before, when they tweet out the draft day team, it's literally like 27 white guys, one mixed race guy, and one woman. And I'm like, do you not see how this looks? It looks terrible. And this is coming from two white guys who do this show. Yeah. It looks fucking ridiculous in the year 2019 that your draft day coverage is 97% white dudes. It's crazy.
And they're still doing better than we are.
So that's what I would like. I would like a revolving, if they're going to do something else with it, like a revolving door of guests of all different races, colours, creeds, everything. Just, it's 2019, people. Shouldn't be that difficult.
No, I want Steve Dangle, just to really annoy people.
I hope he's super critical.
Or
of
just
players and coaches.
Just ultra danglish,
yeah.
Just really emphasised.
Just screaming in McLean's face.
I would actually kind of like to see that.
Actually, that'd be quite funny, actually.
I reckon it'd be good. But no, you're right. Keep it fresh, because I reckon they'll just bin off the segment and probably just have more Friedman and Johnston, which, as content goes, isn't a bad thing, because those guys are good. They're very.
Yeah.
I like what Friedman and Johnston do, but there's that elephant in the room of, really, if they really want to enact some change and respond properly to this situation, they have to have a different voice on. They've got to show sincerity in the fact that they want to change and grow and distance themselves from Cherry's viewpoints and what he said. You've got to have somebody different on there. Someone from a different background, different ethnic group, different gender, whatever it might be. You can't just replace it with more Elliot Friedman. No disrespect to Friedge, because Friedge hasn't done anything wrong. It's not Friedge's fault. He's white, but yeah, you can't just have another 5 minutes of Friedge, because that is Sportsnet not acting correctly. We will see. We'll see.
All right, then. Let's get on to something else. Let's get on to some real hockey news. Nice. I gave you some homework, Will, to look into John Chayka, as we mentioned, his extension. Oh, yeah. Maybe surprising to some people, because he's still got 18 months left on his deal. So
I was trying to reconfirm that. I didn't look very deep, but 18 months. I can barely believe that. 18 months is mental. I didn't even know you could do that with GMs. I'd always assumed that it was the same rules as the players.
No, I thought you could. Because they're not treated the same as the players, are they? So,
sorry, Mr. GM.
Oh, Mr. fucking contract law.
Yeah, no, Jesus Christ! What's my quick snapshot of my assessment of John Chayka and his ability as a general manager? UFA signings, nay bad at all. He's not that he's particularly good, but he's really buoyed by the fact that he's managed to get Anthony Ranta and Darcy Kemper to luck into being good for him. So fair play to him. It's more that he hasn't had too many drastic misses on the UFA market. I'd say the big one is Alex Goligoski, not looking all that good at 5.475 million for another 2 years. Even so, it's one of those ones where you look at the timing when they signed Goligoski and the state that the franchise was in, as far as like appealing to UFAs and the state that their defence was in. It was an understandable gamble to take, and he's unfortunately dropped off a cliff more than you'd have wanted him to. RFAs, I don't really like it. I don't really like it all that much. The Christian Dvorak and Jacob Chikrin contracts are it's one of those ones where in a couple of years we might be looking back at them and saying, oh, fantastic deals, absolutely fantastic deals. How have you got Jacob Chikrin for 4.6 million or whatever? But he's not quite there yet, I don't think. Same for Christian Dvorak. Christian Dvorak's potentially getting there. But
this was
not so much.
This was kind of the one for me was the RFA signings and the young players he's got locked up for seemingly not much money. Like I say, Jacob Chikrin 4.6 for another 6 years. Well, another 5 years after this.
Yeah.
Christian Dvorak 4.45.
In
same.
The first year of that contract as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Schmaltz has got 7 years left, or 6 years after this at 5.85. Clayton Keller going to be starting his 7.15 next year. So, if those players can turn out to be not good, but they have to be very good. Yeah, and then you come back in a few years and go, God, the guy's a genius. And we do criticize GMs a lot for paying players for what they've done rather than what they can do. And fair play, I think John Chayka's sort of shown some brass ones here by saying, all right, I'm going to pay these players now, get them all playing together, and hopefully in a few years they'll be bedded in and that'll be it. We'll be off at the races kind of thing.
Which is all well and good, but generally before you even want to do that, you want to have at least some proof in the pudding. You know what I mean? That's why Clayton Keller, I can understand, because Clayton Keller has shown flashes of his ability to be a star, but like Dvorak and Chikrin, blowing heck, like Chikrin especially, he's been good, and he was touted as a prospect before his draft year and stuff like that, and he's got all the tools to be a good D-man, but he's not really shown any of it yet. Yeah, I don't know.
True.
There's seeing a potential breakout and trying to lock someone up, and there's just betting on the future. You know what I mean? Betting on something that hasn't materialised in the slightest yet.
So it's safe to say your thumb's leaning down.
I think maybe down, yeah, but like just generally a bit neutral. Like he's got some good bits, some bad bits. Like I don't really like the Dylan Strome trade. Like Nick Schmaltz is good, but the Phil Kessel trade's fine. Not great, but not bad. Like it's just really neutral, to be honest. The thing I'm trying to work out a little bit of is his drafting. Bearing in mind he's only had 4 drafts, so 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm not bloody Corey Promen over here or anything like that. I'm not super tuned into prospects, but looking through this list of players that they've drafted, and there aren't a lot of like... Yeah, I do like to check the old top 100 players outside the NHL or whatever it is by Promen and Wheeler and all that sort of stuff. And there's not a lot of names jumping out here to me that I'm thinking, right, these are some up-and-comers. So, I mean, on the surface, he's drafted all right in the first round, but not exactly well, not notably well elsewhere. His trades are so-so, his signings are so-so. If he wasn't 30 years old, would we even be talking about John Chayka as a GM?
That's a good point. That's a very good point. He is, because obviously when he took over, he was the youngest GM in history, wasn't he? I think when he took over.
Yeah, sounds about right.
There's always going to be something around him because of that fact. I think, like you said, I think the main thing about this season is that, at least for the time being, touch wood for all the Coyotes fans out there, is that they have decent goaltending, which has been the thing for years, that they just couldn't get a save, or the goalies, or specifically Antti Ranta, was always getting injured, and they just couldn't find a rhythm. And like you say, you get Darcy Kemper, and I kind of, oh well, let's hope this guy works out. And so far he's working out really well.
And the thing with that is, like, how much credit do you give him? Because he brought Ranta in as, he added all his eggs in the. Sorry, he brought Ranta in as a starter, and Kemper has just been, found money for John Chayka. Yeah. So, how much can you really give him credit of saying, oh yeah, Darcy Kemper's going to be great, because it's not like you brought him in as a starter. So,
well, that won't be what hockey's like. That won't be the narrative, will it?
No,
the narrative
absolutely.
will be John Chayka took a chance on this guy, found him, brought him in, and look what he did. He's been amazing.
Yeah, and like by that token, I could say about any move that any GM makes. Like, oh, how could you, for a player that improves when they join that team? So it's a bit disingenuous in some ways. And then there's that element of, we're 20 games into the season, and Arizona are doing much better than they have been previously over the last few years. But yeah, Chayka's been at the helm since 2016 now, and this has been their first, if they carry on, their first good year. So, I don't know. To an extent, it's still a bit too early days to really grade him properly. Yeah.
Okay then.
A solid grey 50% achievement, whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Just neutral.
A solid C right now.
Yeah, solid C.
Solid C. Okie dokie. So, a couple of wingers in the news a little bit, and at different stages of their career. Jesse Puljujärvi and Ilya Kovalchuk. Puljujärvi, a little story this week on Sportsnet about Puljujärvi. He's been playing quite well in Finland for Karpat, 20 points in 18 games. The Rangers are reportedly keeping tabs on him and keep asking Oilers about him. Are you surprised he hasn't moved yet or been brought back to Edmonton?
I'm not surprised he hasn't been brought back to Edmonton, because he explicitly said that he doesn't want to go back to Edmonton. So, I mean, I don't quite know how like the NHL recall clause works, but he would have to sign a contract, obviously. They couldn't just turn around and say, you're not allowed to play for Karpat anymore, come back to Edmonton.
Yeah, he's got till December the 1st, hasn't he, to sign, I think.
Yeah, exactly that. So I'm not surprised he hasn't come back to Edmonton. To an extent, I'm not surprised he hasn't been traded, because it is still early doors, really. Like, that December the 1st deadline is early, very early for a team to make a decision on a player who, to an extent, hasn't, whether it's through his own fault or through the team's fault, he hasn't proven himself at the NHL level yet. So I think...
Just quickly then.
Go on.
Sorry, just quickly. Just based off that then. So it's clear teams are asking about him. Do you think Ken Holland's standing his ground because, A, he still thinks Puljujärvi has a future in Edmonton, even though he said he hasn't? Or do you think he's standing his ground with teams to make a point? Is it for too long under our Lord and Saviour, the Teflon Don, the Oilers were a joke, and we're always getting rinsed on trades? Do you think this is Holland's way of saying, we're not going to be pushed around here. This is the price, and that's the price. You don't just kind of take us for a ride anymore.
Holland's getting calls from Doug Wilson every week. Like, how about Tim Heed? Go on, I'll give you Tim Heed. No, Doug, I'm not going to give you Puljujärvi for Tim Heed. All right. And then Lou Lamoriello's phoning about that. Ross Johnson for Jesse Puljujärvi. Go on. Come on.
The trade's 1 for 1.
1 for 1.
Come on.
Trade's 1. Oh, God. I said it again. No, I think, there could be an element of Holland thinking, well, I might as well hang on to him because you never know what's going to happen. But I also think that Holland knows that he's obviously not getting an offer that he is happy with yet. Because if he was, he probably would have taken it. And he's probably looking at this start that Puljujärvi's having and thinking, right, if I trade him now, that's one thing. But if he carries on like this, and he's only been getting better and better out there in Finland, if he gets to the end of the season and he's had like an MVP caliber season in the Liga, he's probably going to get you a proper asset again. Yeah, rather than like a second or third round pick and a prospect, which he would have done before. If he really looks like he's back to the kind of player that was touted for his draft year, and yet you might get something that's really, really worth actually giving up a player of that caliber for.
Yeah.
So I reckon it'll go the full season. It'll go the full season. He'll play the entire year in Finland, and then he'll probably get traded. I'd say next summer, but it's the NHL, so he'll never get traded.
And then, of course, at the other end, Ilya Kovalchuk, who was told to take a seat permanently in LA. This came out yesterday that I first saw in a tweet from Toronto-based Will Everett Human, Elliot Friedman, after meeting with Todd McClellan in the summer, and they had a chat about what McClellan expected of him and what he should be doing, and obviously he hasn't lived up to that. And then today, just before we came on, the rumour now via Dennis Bernstein, who covers the Kings, is that the Kings and Kovalchuk are working on a release from his contract.
Release.
I think it's fair to say that it has gone tits up, as they say. Well,
oh yeah, definitely. So enjoy having Kovalchuk for the rest of the season. SK St. Petersburg. I mean, he's not doing awfully this year, is he?
He's fourth highest scorer on the Kings, but that's not saying much.
I reckon it's got to be maybe Kovalchuk's asked to go home. He's like, stuff this.
Maybe he has.
Because he hasn't come back and lit it up, has he?
It might be the thing that I mention sometimes, I never think about, but maybe he just doesn't like it there. Maybe his family hates living in America. I don't know. I'm like, because he brought his family with him, you know?
That's
so,
it,
I mean, maybe his wife and his kids are just like, you know what, we just don't like it here. Can we go home, please? And it's just playing into his game and he's not enjoying himself. And yeah, I mean, there you go.
The rumour was that he wanted specifically either like New York or Los Angeles.
LA, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's not like he's playing in Winnipeg or whatever. He's got good Wi-Fi.
It must be hard though to go from playing, like you say, from St. Petersburg, where he's averaging like more than a point a game, to then going back to the NHL and thinking, oh shit, I can't really do it here anymore, or I'm not being used properly.
Yeah, that might be the thing. I reckon if he was playing well, it'd obviously be different. But
oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to it, like the fact that he's not quite as happy with how he's been playing.
To clarify as well, I'll be stunned if he goes anywhere else other than home.
Oh yeah, yeah, without a doubt, I reckon he's going home. He's gone. See you later. Thanks for coming back, Ilya, but it's not really worked, has it?
Nick Foligno has been suspended 3 games for his hit on Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
And Bellemar's knocked out. Foligno knocked out Bellemare in the neutral zone with a shot up top. Oh my goodness gracious.
You know, he's not a headhunter, but on this particular play, he comes up high, he jumps into the guy. I mean, that is, watch his feet.
I actually didn't know I hit him in the head at all when I went. That's why I was kind of reacting the way I did, and I saw the replay, and there was no intent to hit him like that at all. I mean, I think I'm trying to line him up at the time, and then he kind of turns back and makes that play, and it just happened so fast, and I felt, sick to my stomach when I saw that I hit him in the head, and, it's an unfortunate, collision almost, and my main concern is that he's just all right, and I got word from their locker room that he's feeling all right, so.
I think this was unlucky. I think Bellemare turns at the last second, I think because he sees Foligno coming towards him. And I think because he as Foligno comes in, he does lead with his arm, and I got to say he does lead with his arm, but this is Nick Foligno's first suspension. I just don't believe he's this kind of player. I genuinely don't. But
yeah, I don't know. None of us are mind readers.
I mean, to be fair, I think he should have been suspended because he did what he did. I'm not saying, but I think the fact the hit occurred, this was more of an unlucky hit than he was targeting him. Kind of thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you couldn't try to sort of orchestrate this situation, could you really? It's the one where you don't know what Foligno's thinking in that moment, so the way that he rises into the hit as well as leading with the elbow, is that him trying to sort of jump and get out of the way of colliding with Belmar, or is that him trying to bloody Shoryuken him through the ice? Like, what is it?
Shoryuken.
Yeah. If he'd added in a little spin as well, that'd have been better. It's one of those ones like you've got to have a plant inside Foligno's brain to really know whether it was intentional or not. Deserved a suspension. It was a nasty hit, and a great way to filter out all those people on Twitter who are like, "This is a hockey play. Why are you all being such pansies?" No, mate.
Yeah, and fair play to Foligno as well. He said afterwards, didn't he? He said that he was, he felt sick to his stomach. He was horrified. He's not that kind of player. He was very apologetic. He wasn't just, then what did wrong there? It was a hockey play. So
whatever happens on the ice stays on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. He said all the right things afterwards as well. So like Ron McLean earlier, he seemed genuinely upset that this had even happened.
I was going to say, we'll give him the Ron McLean for now and see where we go from there.
Yeah, if he turns into the next Raffi Torres, we'll know he had us all fooled. And the last thing, hopefully Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin have even thicker skin than we thought will.
Mate.
As they've been almost a year ago to the day, unbelievably, of the Jim Lights comments, Jim Montgomery has taken a swipe at them both. How are things in Starsland taken to this news?
We're looking forward to winter 2020 when Jim Neal completes the trifecta and finally calls him out himself. Is he the
James gang?
The Jim gang, yeah.
The Jim gang.
The comments weren't. I don't think they're that bad, really. I mean, they definitely weren't as bad as Jim Lights, aka Tom Cogladi, did last year. Nowhere near. I think to an extent, it was just a coach frustrated with his players. It was unorthodox. You don't often see that from a coach directly calling out his players, questioning whether they want to actually play well or not.
The times are changing, dude. Players are calling out coaches. Coaches are calling out players. That's it. You want a personality? Here it is. Yeah, everyone's calling out everyone nowadays.
It's it's not ideal though, is it? It's not ideal though. It's another indication that the Stars are actually a very, very dysfunctional organisation. And we just don't quite know it yet because nobody cares about hockey in Texas. As a fan, I'm not worried about the comments per se. I'm worried about the fact that it's happened again. And to the same two players.
I was going to say, to the same two players.
And they've got the highest cap hit for a duo on a team with the lowest number of points.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
They're the only duo who have a combined cap hit of over 15 million, I think, who haven't cracked 20 points.
Okay, I did not know that. I was going to ask the devil's advocate question of, do you think Montgomery's done this knowing that Ben and Seguin are two guys who can take it and won't care, as like an example to the other team, to the rest of the team? Or do you think he is solely singling out those two players?
I think I don't want to say it was careless from Montgomery, but to an extent it was. I think he's quite exacerbated already from, like, the Stars had a diabolical start. They're looking at probably not making the playoffs this season. Almost definitely not making the playoffs this season, which he's going to already be aware of and be disappointed with. And Jamie Benn's been in decline for a couple of seasons now, fair enough, but the fact that both Ben and Tyler Seguin are playing so badly at the moment, offensively at least, they're not converting. It's got to be frustrating. Like, he's got to think, right, I've fixed the rest of the team and everyone else is doing their bit and we're getting some results, but I can't get the two players that arguably in his head he shouldn't have to coach, really. They're not doing what they're expected to do. Like, he's already been pushed over the edge by the team playing so badly for the first 15 games, and now he's just already in that mode of like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Is it possible that he saw what happened last year with Jim Lights, and that now in the Stars head office, coach's room, there's a plaque behind a sheet of glass that just says "Slag off Ben and Seguin," and it's like in case of emergency, break this.
Yeah.
And he's just using it again.
I'd hope not, because from what I've seen, I like Montgomery. He seems like an interesting guy, an interesting coach. I'd hope he wouldn't be stupid enough to think that works. Here we are.
Cast your mind forward, Will. The year is 2023. So, interesting news out of Dallas this week, Will, is that Kitman Jim Smith has slagged off Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin as the Stars have started the season quite poorly.
Don't even know how to tie their own laces.
Yeah. I shouldn't have to tell my number one left winger and my number one centre how to tie their own laces. It's a shambles.
You do just... And it's the annoying thing where, like, it gives fuel to, like, the worst parts of the fandom. That are like, oh, trade Tyler Seguin, take the captaincy away from Jamie Benn. Like, fucking get out of here. Like, no, don't be... We're going to do trade Tyler Seguin for who? Jesse Puljujärvi?
We trade him back to the Bruins for the players that we traded him for. Possibly.
Somehow reacquire Riley Smith.
Swap.
I mean, Riley Smith would be alright. Riley Smith's not bad, but I still probably wouldn't trade Tyler Seguin for him and Joe Morrow and Louis Eriksson.
Yeah. Man versus 8-year-old.
Hey, Will, you schmuck. You're going to get roasted by an 8-year-old, you fool.
Interesting, Will, that last week you accused me of rigging this like I was some kind of Russian politician.
I didn't accuse you, I just said that there's no way of proving that you haven't rigged it.
So you accused me of rigging it, and then after declaring my daughter's picks for the world to hear, she did me proud this week, scoring 4 points to your 2, as it's now 15-12 to my daughter.
If I lose again this week, I'm just gonna bow out and stop wasting everyone's time and cut 10 minutes off the podcast every week. Because we all know how this ends.
Well, maybe okay. Well, if that happens, then if you want to concede it, say if you get like 10 points down or something, is that just mercy rule? Forget it.
Well, I don't know. We'll see how I feel
next week
when that happens. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And in the interest of fairness, I shall read out her picks again this week,
thank you
so
very
everyone
much.
can keep up and play along at home. So Oilers Avs.
Oilers.
How fucking good's Nathan McKinnon playing without Landeskog or Rantanen? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's right.
He's not a bad player. She chose the Oilers because they can oil on the floor and then it'll make everyone else slip over. So there we go.
I feel she is misinterpreting the significance of team names, but I definitely like that as a proposition for
That's fine.
for the competition committee.
Kings, Red Wings.
Oh Jesus, Red Wings.
She chose the Kings because they rule the land.
Fair, yeah, sound logic. You can't argue with that, can you?
Blue Jackets, Blues.
The Blues, and does George say the Blue Jackets because they're warmer?
No, she picked the Blue Jackets because she said Christopher Columbus is very famous.
No, she did not.
I swear to God she did.
That's crazy. I don't even know what Christopher Columbus did.
Okay, so on my screen I wrote CBJ, Blues, and she said, what's the C stand for? I said, doesn't matter. She said, because it's the Blue Jackets. She said, no, what's the C? I said, it's the Columbus Blue Jackets. She said, oh, Columbus Blue Jackets then, because Christopher Columbus is famous.
Fair enough. Okay. You can't. Well, she should have asked about St. Louis Blues, and she should have said, "Oh, Martin St. Louis is famous," and she'd have been right for that as well. So,
yeah. What does Blues stand for? The St. Louis Blues. She's like, "Oh man, they're going to miss Tarasenko." I'm like, tell me about it. It's crazy.
Sorry, Mike. Excuse me.
All right, Devils, Penguins.
Penguins. The Devils, Penguins.
She picked the Devils because the Devils can poke penguins with their fiery forks.
Again, yeah, they should be allowed to.
Logically. And then Bruins, Caps.
Ooh, Caps.
And she picked the Capitals because there are more of them. I'm not quite sure what that one means, but there we are.
I mean, okay. I mean, Capitals is a longer word than Bruins. We'll give it that.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's it. I don't know. All right, there we go. Thank you for listening, everybody. Will, any last words?
Yeah, we didn't talk about the Avalanche jersey.
No, we didn't. But there we go. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care. See you later. I'm just kidding.
You started. Is it all right? What do you think? What do you think of it?
You already know what I think.
You don't like it?
No, I do like it.
Oh, good. Yeah. I don't want to like it, but I love it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
like
exactly. That was me. Was I shouldn't like it, but I do like that.
I still kind of think it's horrendous, but I'm so glad it exists. Like, it's so good. It's like, what are you doing? Yes.
It's like your favorite. It's like your favorite worst film. You know it's terrible, but god damn it, you just love it.
Yes, it's basically The Room, isn't it? Like, it's.
Oh, hi, Abs.
I'm so excited to see the whole ensemble. It's so mad, so mad. I love it.
All right then. Okay, there we go. Take care, folks. We'll talk to you later.
Peace.